Welcome back aboard Blurred Force 1 with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news and do some speculation, all of that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast, Jay, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. Back again. Like, I swear, you know what? We're gonna just make you. I think you're gonna be just the official, resident co-host here, because at this point, Polly, you're back, and your Reed hate, the Reed hate badge is on, firmly affixed, right? Polly of Comics, how you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm like one of those guests that you invite and then they refuse to leave.
Yeah, it's like,
And then they just leave there.
just made a pallet on the floor.
Yeah.
We love having you on the show, obviously. Thanks for coming back again. Man, we are in the midst of superhero summer, and it is, I have to say, pretty damn good so far.
It hasn't started yet.
Well, no, I mean, because next week, literally in like 5 days, we got Ironheart dropping its first 3 episodes. That's cool. I'm really excited for that. The press run for Superman is they just started. I just saw that. I think they were they in Malaysia or something, like they were in Southeast Asia. James Gunn and David Cornswell, Rachel Brosnahan, I believe Nicholas Hoult was there too. So they've started the full court press on Superman because it's a couple weeks out, and of course, Fantastic Four is coming up at the end of the month. I also want to note that they have still not put that Galactus popcorn bucket on sale. I don't even think at this point I'm thinking twice about buying it just because it's $80 fucking. Like that's a hard sell.
And
to
probably
me.
because they're dragging it out. It's like something that you see and you want to buy, and it's an impulse buy.
And I actually
if they give you time to think about it.
I was at the theater last night, at the AMC. That's where they are selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you guys going to have these in stock? And the guy was like, I don't even know, man, for real. And I was like, come on, like, don't play with us. But I am still interested.
They're hanging out at the theater, or were you watching something?
And speaking of popcorn buckets, I just saw, I don't remember which theater chain is doing the popcorn bucket, but I saw the popcorn bucket that I was like, this is Polly's bucket. Like, forget the Galactus one. It's the Reed Richards. And you notice it's not even comics Reed. It is Pedro Pascal Reed. I'm looking at, he's got like the little beard, scruffy beard and everything. And I'm like, they're trying so hard. I honestly think that Kevin Feige.
They're trying to erase the comics Reed from existence, which is good.
I think Kevin Feige is like, you know what? Polly is really hard on Reed. We're going to fix that. We're going to make her love this guy. So they got the little popcorn bucket with just Reed. They also, did you not see that they also put out a Sue Storm, popcorn bucket?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's just like bad. That's a horrible.
Same as Drax.
That's a horrible joke. Sorry.
Well, I have seen, like I said, I have seen Iron Studios statues, also movie based, also with the likeness of the actors. And damn, those they look so good. I would buy them, and I would put the Reed Richards one in like, basement
in the trash,
or something.
In the trash can.
But it's in the trash. Have you seen the prices on those statues for that price? Even Reed Richards is not going in the trash for that.
That's oh man, okay. I'm really excited for this summer though, and towards the end of summer we do have what is it? Eyes of Wakanda. We got Peacemaker. Like this summer is dope. I'm so excited for it. While we're talking, we'll quickly run through it. What have you been doing that's nerdy?
Not much. Mostly playing Marvel Rivals.
I
And
see that.
well, yeah, making some posts about Reed and apparently stirring some shit because Reed apologists. I mean, seriously, people go to extreme lengths to just find excuses for it. I don't know. The this baffles me. I
I'm not baffled at all by it. Like the apologists for paternalistic white dudes are legion. Like that because Reed's on. Let me put it to you this way: if you gender bent Reed, no one would put up with his shit. Nobody would put up with it. If you know how they gender bent Doctor Octopus, and we were like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, all Doc Ock and Reed Richards talking the shit they do, if they gender bent, they'd be talking about how terrible a character and how awful it is. How is this a, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because there's a double standard
mostly
there.
like take any woman who is smart in the comics, and people always start complaining that she's smug and
Yeah,
like why is she so like smart.
there would be
Like
no. I
stuff,
tell you,
but
there were.
mostly that, yeah, but with Reed they find 10,000 excuses like, oh, he's smart, that's why he's smug. No.
Yeah, no. The Reed Hater Club is in full effect. But I'm telling you,
Right.
Fantastic Four is going to rehab his character, and you're going to be angry. So
They're gonna
just
try.
be
They're gonna
ready. Just
try.
be
I'll
ready.
still find reasons.
Well,
No, I don't believe in it.
at the very least, he's going to admit that he was wrong and that he doesn't know everything. And
I
that's
don't think
that
he's gonna do
you
that.
think that's the thing about Reed Richards is that he can never admit that when he finally he takes he will only admit he's wrong after he's done everything else. Like after everything else has happened, he's done everything he can to cover it up. He finally is like, fine, I was wrong. Like you have to pull his teeth to get that. It's
Yeah,
anyway. This
and
I'm gonna say let's not descend into Reed Richards
yeah, yeah,
hateration.
because
I
that could go on for years.
let me say I've had a pretty decent nerdy week. I've been catching up on some anime, so I caught up on Lazarus. I got caught up on From Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. Those are still, I think, the final episodes of the season are coming up soon. I'm happy with both of those shows. Lazarus finally is starting to make some damn sense. But I forgot to mention this last week. I watched Predator: Killer of Killers. That's a fucking dope ass movie. If you like Predator or sci-fi in general, watch it. It's pretty great. This is yet another animated movie that is trying and I think succeeding in letting American adults, because we have a prejudice against animation, letting us know, hey, some adult ass shit is happening in you know animation, and you need to be watching it. It's a dope ass movie. Also, went and watched Alio last night. Loved it. Another Pixar win as far as I'm concerned. I think it's worth seeing. It's got all the Pixar magic. Um, it's a little tropey. I'm not gonna lie. It's got some of the classic Disney and Pixar setups just to kind of quickly get you into the movie. But I like Alio as a character. I think the whole sci-fi aspect is great, and they got me for real. You know how hard, this is how they got me. Besides the whole orphan kid thing, well, the way they got me is they quoted Carl Sagan, literally just like took his voiceover and put in. I love Carl Sagan's one of my heroes. In anything, and I love space flight and all that stuff and space exploration. They quoted him twice in the movie, and they had Kate Mulgrew do a voiceover talking about space and everything like that. It's Kate Mulgrew, if you watch Star Trek, was Captain Janeway in Star Trek Voyager. Beyond that, it's just a great little movie. Like any kids will love it. For because the main character is a kid and his alien friend's a kid, but also parents will love it. I think if you just like Pixar movies in general, it's good. So just go watch that. Finally, it's Friday, so I got to do my nerding on a budget.
I was gonna ask.
I did do some nerding on a budget. I mean, look, I'm always looking for deals. So I'm gonna start out with some uh, physical media finds of mine. So first of all, some movies. I found Ad Astra by again Space Flight. Love it. Ad Astra. This was, and I got this for half off, so this is $1. Nice Blu-ray. But since we're talking about superhero stuff, one of my favorite movies of all time, and a great superhero movie, Mystery Men from 1999. I went and saw this in the theater. Have you seen this, Polly? You're looking like I don't know what this
No,
is. Go see it if you can find this on streaming. It is great. Ben Stiller, Janine Garofalo, Hank Azaria. I think Wes Studi is in this. You had Jeffrey Rush. It's such a good ass. It's a comedy, and it's great. I freaking love it. So that was like $1. And I was glad I got that. So comics. Got Wolverine First Class Volume 2. I got this one for like, I think I got it for $2.50. So that's $2.50. And this is in great condition, by the way. I wish I had gotten Volume 1, but they didn't have it at the thrift store. And I got this trade paperback, X-Men Battle of the Atom. And I got this one for like $4. So it's collecting. It's a storyline I hadn't read before, but I'm looking forward to that one. So my physical media is getting like serious. I need to find a place for it. To be honest, I did get a toy this week, and I think I got this for $9. Look at that, Shuri from Black Panther.
Awesome.
Yes, $9. I'm not taking this out the box. It's going up on the wall. Because
I don't get that. I don't get the not taking it out of the box.
I love the box.
I just don't do that.
Look, I love the boxes. That's why I don't take any of my pops out. First of all, they stack well. Like if I had to take all nearly 200 of my pops and put them somewhere, I don't know where the fuck they would go. But in their boxes, they just stack on the wall behind me. Last things, I've been getting one of these. Look at that. Say hello.
That's Flight.
Yes, the Canadians, the Canadian super team. That doesn't get enough respect, in my opinion. But that's a really dope ass team picture. I'm about to put. You see on the wall back there. I'm gonna put that probably underneath that Avengers one. So there you go. Nerding on a budget. I think all told, what did I spend on all of that? Maybe $20, maybe $30. All the way around.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, not too bad. So I look for deals. So you guys can find them too. Amazon, I know they're an evil empire, but like they do have cheap shit sometimes. And check out your local thrift shops. You may be surprised what you find. So all right, this is a Supercast. We're going to talk about our superhero movies and TV shows and video games, and all the news related to that. So this week, we got quite a bit actually going on this week. So we're going to talk about someone been cast as the star of DC's Clayface movie. Erin Moriarty of The Boys talks about a medical diagnosis that she received. David Goyer questions what the hell's going on with Marvel's Blade. The release schedule for Ironheart has been put out, and fans ain't too happy. We'll find out why. Jake Schreier gets another directing gig at Marvel. What's he going to be directing? Then we're going to talk about that big Rolling Stones, article interview with James Gunn, where he gives some updates, some tidbits, and his thoughts on the DCU and the projects that they're working on. There's quite a bit to work through there. So it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna try to hurry on and get into this. But Polly, you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's do this. So DC's Clayface, right? which by the way, remember James Gunn said, "Hey, I wasn't even thinking about Clayface. I had whatever. We're just making stuff." But Mike Flanagan, It Chapter 1 and 2 and The Haunting of Hill House and so forth. He's a horror guy, right? He came to him with a script, and James Gunn read it and was like, "This is dope as hell. We're making this," and they're making it. Which, let me say, I love that ethos at DC, that DC Studios, and we'll talk about it a bit more later. But the script is what's is king. If it's a great script, we're gonna get something. Like, and because James Gunn and Peter Safran, they run the studio, they are in charge of the money, and they can pretty much make these things happen. So Mike Flanagan came to it. They got a director. Now they got their Clayface in the person of Tom Rhys Harries, and I'm just gonna say, don't know who this guy is. I'm a straight. I don't.
I looked it up. I looked up who he is because I looked vaguely familiar and I couldn't put the face like couldn't place the face, and then I googled who it is, and that's the actor from Doctor Who episode Dot and Bubble.
Don't know who this is.
You don't watch?
I don't watch Doctor Who, so I don't know who this
Okay,
is.
so this was a very great episode in the last season, and it surprisingly dealt with racism. So it was a very kind of controversially received episode because some people started wondering, "Oh my God,
am I
you're
racist?
making this show
Probably.
woke?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, it's but I do remember him in that role, and well, I don't know, it's quite an interesting choice. It's definitely
He's British. That's what
I
you're
think
trying to say. He's British.
Yeah, but aside from that, it is I don't know what he can do aside from what I've seen, but I think that's a very interesting choice, and there's considering all that we know at this point about the movie, really, really exciting.
Yeah, they say
I'm
that.
actually starting to get more and more interested in that movie because I started out not caring about it at all.
Right. Well, and I think that's right. Like we barely know anything about it, but as more details have been released, like we know the kind of the genesis of the idea, what the inspiration was. We know Mike Flanagan he's the real deal. Like he can write, so we know the script's on point. James Gunn's excited about it. That tells me a lot because James Gunn, generally speaking, has pretty good taste in movies and everything. They got a good director. Uh, and James Gunn said this was an exhaustive search, and we landed on this guy. I heard that Jack O'Connell, who we just saw in Sinners, was one of the people that was, considered for this role. Okay. I mean, Jack O'Connell, I don't really know him, but in Sinners, he was amazing. So, all right, this guy's got the goods. Apparently he's got the goods. So I'm excited. Good. Look, I'm ready for this. The great thing is my expectations are I'm not expecting this to be super connected to anything like that. It's just a good one-off story, right? Where they're telling a story about the origin of this bad guy, and it doesn't have to
Kind
be
of
any
like
more than
Werewolf
that.
by Night.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be any more. And in fact, I love that you said that. If that's the way they go, look, it doesn't have to be connected to anything. It just is. It's just a thing that exists in our universe. Hell yeah. I wish Marvel would do that more often. I wish it's okay to tell stories that don't necessarily factor into anything else. It's just a story in a universe. So I'm excited. Good for this
Yeah, if
guy.
it's a good story, there's always a place for it.
Yeah, good for this guy. You know, do your thing, and I'm just y'all are raising my expectations just a little bit every time, but I'm really excited for this. So we'll keep an eye on this project and let you guys know any more information once we get it. So moving on to one of the stars of The Boys, Erin Moriarty. She recently revealed that she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is something I was not aware. In fact, most people probably aren't going to be aware of what this disease is. So, thankfully, the article that where this, I think it was Deadline, where they did say it's an autoimmune disease, basically presents different kind of symptoms. One of them is like weight loss, loss of appetite, stuff like that. But she, now she's being treated for it and everything like that, which I think is that first of all great. I'm glad that they caught what it is, because this is one of those things. It sounds like this is one of those diseases where you can have symptoms that look like a bunch of different things. Like, I don't know if you've know someone, or that's dealt with like something like fibromyalgia or something like this. Is a disease that can
I'm
present.
familiar with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly since it's the article speaks, like you said, about what it is, and it has to do with thyroid,
Mm-hmm.
and has to do with endocrinology, which is a complex, very complex field of
Yeah.
medicine, and it's really hard to find professionals who are really experienced and can pinpoint like exactly what's wrong and what to do to fix it.
Yeah. That's
It's a huge issue because I know like a lot of people who have dealt with something that had to do with like endocrinology. I hope I'm pronouncing it
No, you're saying it right.
right.
No, you're saying it
I'm
right.
not a medical. Yeah, and like I said, it's really hard to find good specialists in this
Yeah,
field.
exactly. And like I said, the symptoms present are similar to other things, and you have to just exhaustively figure out what's going on. And as as the person that has it, you have to recognize, no, something's actually wrong. It's not just, I'm not just fatigued. I'm not just like, I'm not just like, doing too much.
I'm
There,
depressed.
yeah, you have to figure this out. So, I'm saying all this to say, and I'm not trying to diagnose nobody. I thought in last season, I was like, it felt to me like am I wrong about this? I was like, she's really thin. Like, what? Because this is I think this is a hyperthyroid situation, and hyperthyroidism. I hope I'm saying it right. Can lead to like extreme weight loss and stuff like that. I was thinking she looked a little thin and like a little gaunt. It was weird to me, and I was like, man, I hope she's not just like having some thing where she's just starving herself. And I'm glad that that's not what it was. It really was. She just had this condition, and that's what was going on. I'm glad that she not only got help, but is also kind of bringing some awareness to this. To just say, she said like, hey, if you're feeling, you need to go find this out. Go see about this. Go get yourself checked up. And I
Which is
don't.
wise advice, wise decision, but I mean, in America,
Yeah, that's the thing I
how
was
much
gonna
are they
say.
gonna charge you for that?
That's what I was gonna say. In countries that are sensible and have universal health coverage, you just be like, man, I ain't feeling good. Let me go see the doctor.
Or
And
just, doctors you can actually afford. Because
and in America, you're just like, let me wait until I have to go to the
I guess
emergency
I'll
room.
just die.
Well, what happens is if you ain't got no money, you just go to the emergency room where they have to treat you, but they will send you a bill for like $30,000, and you'll just throw that shit in the trash because like I ain't paying that. Like, y'all gave me some ibuprofen and told me to go home. I'm not paying that. But anyway, good to hear that they found it out, they're treating it, and she's back on the road to recovery. So she's got many more years to
As
go.
far as I know, that's not something you recover from. That's just something you
Well, I meant by
treat
recovery,
constantly
yeah.
and control.
By recovery, I mean like getting back to being, healthier, and like at least knowing what's going on, and
Managing it.
yeah, managing it. So that's cool. Glad to hear that. We'll talk more about the boys, I'm sure, in the near future. So we also have David Goyer, everyone's favorite, or is he everyone's favorite? I don't know. He's written comics that I liked, but he's actually written a lot of comic book movies, or at least co-wrote a bunch of them. I believe he wrote Man of Steel, if I'm not mistaken. But he wrote the Blade he wrote or co-wrote the Blade trilogy, among other things. And he was I think he was on a podcast, and he was like, I just don't understand what the hell's the problem with Marvel. Why can't they get it together with Blade? Like I don't get it. And let me tell you, David Goyer, a lot of us are feeling the same way. How hard could this be? Like how hard can it, like y'all? I'm not even gonna lie. At this point, I'm just like, why don't y'all just get David Goyer to write? He wrote two out of three of the Blade movies were good, and he wrote them. So like, why not just get this guy again? And because he's just like, there's not. This is not hard. It's a lot of action, some vampires and ass kicking and everything like that. What else
That's
do you need?
exactly what his Blade movies were. But would I say that they were brilliant and that they were the kind of movies that today would actually draw a crowd? No,
I don't
that's
know.
the thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know about
I'm
that.
pretty sure that Marvel is looking at this point for profitable things, for profitable characters and teams, and I don't know if that they could pull something like incredible and something that would really stand out. But that's just what he's offering is pretty much mediocrity. It's any movie. It can be a
Yeah.
good movie. It can be a fun, entertaining movie. Would this be a um, billion-dollar project? Probably not.
No, I don't think Blade was ever even with the Marvel treatment. I don't think Blade has any potential of actually getting. I think if it makes 500 million, they should be happy. But they also should keep the cost of the movie should be no more than $90 million.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be happy, and you know it.
But like it really. I mean, I'm with him. Like this is not a tough nut to crack. Like it's a dude. I mean, even if you wanted to go back to the comic book origins, which at this point I think that would be stupid. Now, because Blade prior to the 99, 98 Blade was a different character, right? He wasn't like he wasn't really super powered. He didn't really have cool, he was a daywalker, but didn't really have cool powers. He was a bit more of a remember like Elsa Bloodstone and all them. They kind of like ran in the
Hmm.
same circles doing, fighting vampires, but it wasn't like cool and stylish. But then now they're kind of stuck with the Wesley Snipes version of Blade. So if that's the case, there's not a ton to him. There's not a whole lot to Blade beyond I'm a cool ass kicking vampire hunter with a
Well, that's the
with a
thing that
complicated past that's not that complicated.
movies today they have a little more. Well, they at least aim to have a little more substance and a
Hmm.
little more depth, and I think that's probably where I would disagree with his point of view because we have Sinners, for instance,
Right, right. I mean,
and
oh
that
my
movie
lord,
it
Marvel would never touch. They would never touch that. that
but that was a really great example of how you take a story that is technically about vampires and make it about something more and
remember they wanted to period piece this too.
it's
So I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's
Mm,
I think look, I get it. Like I think that if you distill Blade down to it really is a guy that's stuck between two worlds, but he hates one of those worlds and he's trying to destroy it. So like there's and that's really it. Like there you can throw magic in there, you can throw it like really Blade to me is he's really more defined by the people he goes up against than he is by himself. By himself he's a generic action hero with like some
yeah,
cool.
but he doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
That's the thing, and that would be. I think they have two options with this movie. The first one you mentioned that they wanted to like make a period piece. That's going with a style, and then you can really do whatever because to treat it like a Captain America movie, like the
right.
first one, it
Ooh.
it went for style and it did well with that. Or you can try and go for substance, and then you will have to come up with a story, and will have to come up with the ways that he's relatable and the ways that his character is deep.
Right.
And That's also
And
fun
his
fact.
yeah his cast the cast of characters around it. I just had a brainwave and like, what if they got Michael Giacchino to co-write and
Yeah,
direct?
that would be. I think that
Come
that
on,
would be the perfect decision because what he did with Werewolf by Night, it was an amazing piece of work, and I can, you can't exactly tell which time is this happening in, right?
right?
Mm, but the way it looks, the way it makes you feel, the way the story flows,
I would
it's
love
just
that.
something that is
Wow.
not connected to everything, to anything, but on its own it's a beautiful thing. And that would be, yeah, that's pretty much what I would do.
The idea of Blade in the style of Hammer horror is actually fucking cool to me. Like
Hmm.
I would be all for that.
And I mean, again, that's something that created by the guy who just wrote a magnificent, absolutely stunning soundtrack for Fantastic Four that is
Mhm.
also stylish and also like has elements of the time frame, specific time frame where the movie is set. And God, just I'm continuously amazed by his talent, really.
Well, I think I'd love to see that. So, look, they Goyer. I mean, I don't. I think he's mostly on point. I think we're all just frustrated. I
Uh,
think
I
we're all
think
just
he's
frustrated.
not.
Well, I'm talking about as far as like that. This should not be a hard, thing to get together. So, like, I think we're all just frustrated. Probably no one's more frustrated than Mahershala Ali. So, I hope they get it together. But we'll keep
I
an
don't
eye on
know.
it.
He seems to like be doing fine
I mean,
with
he's
other
working.
things.
He's like, I'm not gonna wait for you to call me for a date.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find other people to date. But we'll see. We'll let you guys know how this works out in the next 5 years. Um, Ironheart is coming out next week, y'all, and they released the schedule for Marvel, and they put on their social media like, look at this great release schedule, and everyone else was like, what the fuck is this shit? And it's mainly because, look, what was it? Daredevil. They first of all they did a full court press with Daredevil anyway with this press run, but also they were like, hey, you're getting the first. What was it the first two episodes on premiere day, and then one per
Yeah.
week after that. And we were like, all right, because we heard this like a month ago. They're putting the first three out. I was like, okay, I don't love that, but okay, cool. Well, what about the rest of the episodes? Well, the rest of the episodes are coming out the next week on the next Tuesday. So you're getting 3 episodes one week and 3 episodes the next week. There's no week to week release, which just I think just further adds to the fact that they're just like, look, we're just gonna put this out. Like we're like, and I don't know if that's because they don't believe in it. I don't know if that's because they're like, we don't want it to step on Fantastic Four, which is, which literally is coming out the week after well, not the week after, 2 weeks after the final release date of Ironheart. They don't want to step on that. I don't know. I feel like this is I feel like it's that they don't have confidence in it or they don't think that it's going to land. And they're just kind of they've already paid the money, they're going to put it out and then that'll be that. Um I don't know. Do you see people just like what the hell, Marvel? Did you see what I was talking about?
Well, first of all, I don't know why don't you just at least drop the all 6 episodes in the same day because I hate this if you're doing a break, either do week to week or just don't do the Netflix thing where they release half a season and then you wait like 5 to 6 months and then they release the second half season and you forget what the first half season was even about. Well, at least they trying to manage that. I do think that they are trying to give at least some room for the Fantastic Four. Not that I think that they're afraid that one thing would somehow affect the other thing, but I don't think that Ironheart is connected directly to like the Doomsday, which is where they all of their cards are in right now, and I do think that they don't have enough faith in this project, and that's probably because of the comments they have been receiving from that smelly portion of fandom.
Yeah, this is we are in the regressive era of American
Yeah,
uh, civic and political life where it's cool to be a bigoted piece of crap.
an asshole.
Yeah. So yeah, there is gonna the thing is I get it. It's they're guys in charge and it's all I get it. But like y'all made this 2 years ago. Like act like you care about this. Act like you care. Like and I honestly in 10 or 15 years we're gonna get a retrospective about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and this, we're gonna get a whole documentary. It's gonna not just on YouTube, we'll probably get an actual for real. Someone paid real money for a documentary, and I'm gonna want them to interview Kevin Feige and figure out what the reasoning was here, because this doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. You've already spent the money, right? And this is supposed to be part of your MC. Either you're trying to bury this character, or you don't think that this is good or something like that. I don't get what's going on with Ironheart. They literally, I mean, this was supposed to come out almost 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure they're really afraid of alienating the terrible people in the
Yeah,
fandom. And this is bad, of course, but these are the people who are in power right now. So
yeah, it's and it ain't even that. Those people that are in power, they only care about this from a culture war standpoint. They don't actually care about
yeah,
they don't care about the actual
but
good storytelling. They don't care about the MCU's. They just care about the impact of the MCU on the culture. And I'm like, I understand that. I get wanting to influence culture, but in terms of actually putting out good stories, because when these people are and have exhausted themselves or they moved on to something else, this shit is still going to be here. So like put out good product. That's it.
yeah, but it's politics.
Yeah,
Whenever people say that they're not interested in politics or
they're lying.
politics don't really affect them, this is
Lies.
how it affects
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Every time people say shit like that, I'm like, you care. You care about politics. You just want, you just don't want to be bothered by challenging things. But all that being said, look, this release schedule, it's not terrible, but I think it does say a lot about what Marvel Studios they're, because at the end of the day they're a money making outfit, and let's just be honest, the majority of the people that are making decisions over there are white dudes, and they, for better or for worse, they understand how other white guys think, and they're like, yeah, we're good. we gotta dial back a little bit on this. Like maybe it's too brown and too queer, and it's too brown, too queer, and there's too many women around here. We can't be they can only take so much. Our fragile egos. So
Yeah. Please make room for the Reed Richardsons
yeah,
of
we
this
need
world.
more white guys, not less.
But
Anyway,
stupider.
so all right, well, we're going to be checking this out next week. Of course, we're going to let you know how we feel about the episodes, and we'll talk about it then. So, one last thing before we dive into that big James Gunn thing. Jake Schreier, who just finished directing Thunderbolts, has been tapped officially. This is official. He is going to be the director for the reboot of X-Men. However, and whatever that ends up being. I think it's early days. I bet there's not a script done. No casting, pre-production hasn't happened, but they've tapped him. This is kind of like, remember when they got John Watts and they were like, he's going to be the next, he's going to do Fantastic Four, or when they said, Destin Daniel Cretton is going to be the director of, Kang Dynasty. This is one of those things they sort of agree. Well, obviously it didn't happen, but they've gotten one of their guys who's already done something good, And they said, look, we want you to do another thing for us. Now, will Jake Schreier end up actually being the director of X-Men? You know, we've seen what happened with John Watts and with with Destin Daniel Cretton, who is, by the way, who's still doing MCU stuff, right? He's just not doing Kang Dynasty for obvious reasons. I think that they're kind of like getting a, if not a formal and informal agreement between them that they're going to be doing this. And obviously, X-Men is coming. Like, it's, Feige said straight up, as soon as we're done with Secret Wars, X-Men is the thing. To the point where I bet you, to a point that I bet you after Secret Wars, I bet you we don't get another Avengers movies for 5 years. I put money on it. We won't get another Avengers movie for 5 years because X-Men is going to be the thing. So, look, I think this is awesome. I don't know. I think he did an excellent job with Thunderbolts. Whatever the box office doesn't reflect the fact that this is actually a great movie, and that I don't think he wrote it, but as a director, and whoever edited the movie also did a great job. As a director, he stayed focused and kept his eyes on the prize, which is, this is a team movie with people who don't want to be in a team. And he managed to give everyone, equal time, even though Yelena obviously was focused, but equal time, equal voice. Everyone gets to kind of shine, and it all feels natural. The coming together and everything feels natural. I think this, if you want somebody on a team movie to bring together disparate characters who have to come together because of their circumstances, I don't think I think it's hard to ask for
and
a better
Wolverine
person.
will be the focus.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. Wolverine's not supposed to be the focus. They're trying to actually do X-Men. I believe this is the thing I believe about Feige. I really think he wants.
I agree.
I really think he wants to do X-Men in a way that is not about Wolverine. It's about the team in general. And if that's the case, Jake Schreier is the guy, in my opinion. All right, I've talked a lot. How do you feel about this this pick?
First of all, it is definitely like a possibility that is possible, maybe sometime in the future, at some point. We don't know when, we don't know whether it's going to happen or not. It's the whole article talks about the focus of the actual article is that there's going to be a named project for like Marvel project for 2028, I think.
3 years.
And it could be the X-Men, and if it turns out to be the X-Men, they have been talking to this guy, who potentially could direct it. Maybe, probably, we don't know. So it's an article about nothing. It literally has no information in it. It's not even an article. I don't know why these pieces of information exist in media. Well, I do know, but
so we can talk about it.
Don't want to talk about it. Yeah. So regarding the actual X-Men movie, we still have no information. We have no confirmation except for the fact that they really interested and they really want to do it, and they really want to do it right. Whether they will be able to or not, I don't know. But to me, it's interesting in theory. I don't know, depending on what kind of movie they want it to be. If it's gonna be a team movie, then yeah, he would be the guy to bring in, probably. But so would be a lot of other people. But again, it depends on the story they want to tell. I mean, is there something he can do? He will find a way to approach it, I'm sure. But to me, the core element of the X-Men is the school. So I would look for someone who knows how to tell a good young adult story.
I know who I want to. This is bad. Bring in David Heyman, who did the last for the last Harry Potter movies. He knows how to do a he did Order of the Phoenix. Look, he did Order of the Phoenix.
Weren't they like this really dark, creepy movies that at some point, like, where you don't even realize what's going on anymore.
I'm messing around, but like you said, like somebody that can do team, like, because it depends.
I mean, jokes aside, Peyton Reed, who directed
Love Peyton
Ant-Man,
Reed.
yeah, also directed Bring It On, which is a school movie,
One of
and
the
it's
best. Well,
an amazing
I will defend
movie in
Bring It
general.
On. I will defend Bring It
Bring It
On
On is amazing.
forever. It's a great movie.
There's nothing to defend. It's a great movie. Even I don't even want to hear anything. It's an amazing movie. It's awesome. One of my favorite movies, one that I rewatch a lot. Like
It's so
that and
good.
Mean Girls, I rewatch. Like,
Uh,
but again, if it's an adult, I would kind of be happy if it's an adult X-Men team, but I would be much
ooh,
happier if it's a
I
school
I think I
movie.
have
That's just what.
I think I have a because the X Men from the early 2000s, the Bryan Singer stuff. Um,
Mhm.
One of the things it did, it was just like the team already exists, and so you're sort of saying like the younger version. So they kind of messed around with ages and everything like that. I thought that was actually pretty good because the idea and the original X Men comic, Professor X is the teacher, and then there's like 5 students.
They're
And,
creepy.
yeah, and then the one in the Bryan Singer version, he's the headmaster, and there are several other X Men who are grown, who are they're recruiting and teaching these kids.
Hmm.
I liked New X Men is one of my favorite versions of, and I know you love New Mutants. New Mutants has the same vibe, like
New Mutants and
yeah,
New
New
X-Men
X Men.
too.
I love the whole idea. Like this school exists. We have mutant teacher. It's a Hogwarts situation. The teachers are already there. They know what they're doing. They're the first generation that was
I
trained to be
mean,
X Men.
know what they're doing is
Yeah.
probably a stretch.
Well,
Like,
but you
just
get what I'm
make it up
saying.
as they go along. I know what they even teach in that
Like
school. Just
I
like
even like the idea of
how not to die on a Tuesday because Magneto showed up again.
well, I like the idea of even Wolverine. He's not a great teacher, but he even takes his moments to be like, I'm a combat instructor, because all you 200 kids at the like it's an actual school with hundreds of kids who all have powers and it's an like it to me if you're gonna do a boarding school deal, do the boarding school deal like all these kids with their not just their powers but their hormones and their their idiosyncrasies having to sort of come together. Like the new X-Men was so great to me because they did the Hogwarts thing. Like they had different, the Marauders and the Hellions and all that other stuff, and they had inter-school rivalry. But when it came down to it, when some shit came to the school,
Then everybody died.
yeah, a lot of people died, but they came together. Like I love that, and I would love if they because then if you do it like that, you can introduce a whole slew of mutants, just a ton of them. Put them in the background, and when you need them, bam, they show up right when you need them for a story. And then anyway, I'm far afield.
But
Jake,
then again, you won't be able to retell the Phoenix story.
no, I don't want to. I don't fucking want. I want Jean. If we're gonna see Jean Grey, like they would never do this, but if it would be funny if they had the time, the time displaced X Men, OG X Men,
Yeah, that could be cool.
with their current counterparts. But
But
I
also,
also
I will always prefer Jean when she was dead. Because and like take Emma and Scott instead, make them run the whole show. Maybe just don't
I
even
would
include
man
Charlie. I
that
don't know.
like if like we're far afield from where we're supposed to be, but it would be like when I say they're swinging for the fences. If not only you had an established X-Men, but you had a Jean Grey that was not alive, like a Jean Grey that
That
was
is a legend.
what, but that's just a memory. Like she was
Hmm.
alive, but she's dead. And you're in the era where Scott and Emma are running the X-Men, and that Xavier is either exiled or he's dead. So he's a memory also. Like that's a huge swing. To me that's a huge swing as far as establishing the X-Men because you're saying there's an entire era of this team that happened and major shit happened and that's in the past. And now whoever survived that era, they are reconstituting the X-Men. They are carrying on Xavier's mission, and they are, their relationship, because that, Emma and Scott were ops, right? They were ops, and now they're
Yeah.
together. Don't, you know what? I'm writing this in my head, and I need to stop. I need to
Hinted
stop.
the drama of how they started.
Yeah, I need to stop. And then you got Madeline Pryor running around for real, still alive. Oh no, it's
And
no.
evil.
I gotta stop, because I'm writing this whole shit in my head right now, and I'm gonna be mad when I don't get it. So, anyway, Jake Schreier. I hope this is true. I think it's true, but I want to see some movement. But we have a few years, so
No, I want to see that. What we just
yeah. Well, we'll talk about this more when it comes out, if and when we get more confirmation. So let's go on to that James Gunn interview with Rolling Stone. I hate this because I love it, but I hate it because I had to read about this in pieces because it was paywalled. Did you see that? This Rolling Stone article was paywalled, and I was like, "Fuck you guys! I want free things, damn it! I want things for free." So I had to rely on social media people to kind of give me piecemeal what went down in this article. Which is a lot, by the way. It was a lot. And I love it. I love process, and I love hearing creators talk about, how they get to where they get. And also this is good insight into the creative, essentially the creative, leader of DC Studios. I make no bones about it. I think James Gunn is one of the best people doing genre stuff right now. He's definitely one of the top, comic book movie directors. He has a good eye for story. He's made a lot of things that I really like. So I like his sensibilities, and I enjoy his output. So hearing him talk about this in kind of a long article was very interesting to me. So we're going to talk about some of these highlights, right? Of the things that he's touched on, how they relate to what DC Studios has got going on. So the first one, is that DC Studios recently killed a major project. He didn't say which one it was. He just said they killed a project. I will say it's not Sergeant Rock, because he later, in another article, he confirmed that they are still working on the Sergeant Rock movie. We talked about it. It's been a bit troubled. I think they postponed it to like next year. And they were supposed to film this year. They postponed it till next year. Who's in it? Who's writing it? Who's direct? No, Luca Guadagnino was supposed to be the director. He may still be attached to it. It's not Sergeant Rock. So, what was it? What do you think? Which of the announced projects do you think they killed because he said they couldn't get the script together? Like there was not a good script.
Which announced projects did they have? Because
so I'll tell you the one it's not Paradise Lost, because he also says they're still working on that. Paradise Lost is supposed to be the Themyscira, Game of Thrones ish, Wonder Woman prequel. That's still being at work, right? So the other ones they announced were Swamp Thing. They announced The Authority. They announced they said Creature Commandos, Superman, Supergirl, Swamp Thing, The Authority, Waller, and Peacemaker. Those were the initial ones. So the ones we already know we're getting Peacemaker, Superman, Supergirl, right? As I said before, they're still work. Sergeant Rock was announced later. We're getting Sergeant Rock. They're still working on it. Paradise Lost is still being worked on. And so and Peacemaker of season 2, obviously we know we're getting.
It's the Authority or Waller.
So it's Authority, Waller, and Swamp Thing. Which one do you think it is?
I think it's Waller.
You think it's Waller?
I think it is because not only it's not easy to.
I will say this: it's not that. It's not Waller, because Waller's Waller's a TV show. This is a movie. So it's between.
I don't know.
So it's between Authority and Swamp Thing.
Okay, Authority probably.
I think it's Authority. I think it's the Authority. I really do. I think there are some hints that it's the Authority. He didn't want to say what it was. There are some hints about it in the fact that in the press run for Superman, there, we know the engineer is a member of the Authority, right? And she's also in Superman. And the actor hasn't said anything about being an Authority, just that she's going to be in other things, but she hadn't said the Authority. I think it is the Authority. And we also know that he talked about how they've had trouble, and behind the scenes they've talked about how they've had trouble with that script, that it wasn't good, it wasn't ready, they weren't moving forward on it. And so that seems the most likely. Like, he literally said he hadn't quite cracked how to make it work. And so because of that, he's used some aspects from that project and put it into Superman. I think that's it. Swamp Thing, we haven't heard shit about it. Let me just say, not a word about that project at all since it's been announced. No, nothing. But Authority, we have heard some negative things, so I think it's that one. We'll see if they ever name it. He also had a lot of thoughts and some updates on Batman. He said that Batman is the number one issue for DC Studios right now. Because, look, we all know. For every one, Superman or anything not Batman that comes out, there's like 4 or 5 Batman things are always, is always on the stove at one time or another. There's always a
circling
pot.
Around.
Yeah, there's always something in the pot for Batman. And so he was just like, look, it is hard. How all the Batman stories have been more or less kind of told for some way or another. And so he's trying to figure out, how do we get to that, how do we get to Brave and Bold, where it's not just like these other ones that we've already seen. He's not the writer, but he's working with the script writer, as he said. He also says that he also talks about that Wonder Woman he says it's easier to adapt, and he did say for sure, we are making Wonder Woman, not just Paradise Lost, but Wonder Woman. They're currently working on the script for that one, which makes sense to me. Look, it's the big 3, right? So they got to work on that. But he also talks about, and I really want your opinion on this. He says he doesn't want a funny and campy Batman. That he's not interested in that. That's not what he wants for the DCU. I'll read the quote exactly. He says, Batman has to have a reason for existing, right? So Batman can't just be, oh, we're making a Batman movie because Batman's the biggest character in all of Warner Brothers, which he is. But because there's a need for him in the DCU, and a need he's not exactly the same as Matt's Batman, but yet he's not a campy Batman. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in a funny, campy Batman, really. And I get it, but do you agree with this?
In a way, and to a degree, because there is a certain style that I think Batman movies benefit from, because I remember we just rewatched recently the what was it, Dark Knight Returns, I think, or Rises or something, and it was like Gotham during day, sunny and bright, and it just felt wrong. So it doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean that the character wouldn't like crack a joke every once in a while. It's just the ridiculous and over the top style is that he doesn't want is what he doesn't want to bring into this movie, which I think makes sense. It can be serious, it can be dark, and it can be stylish, and none of that has to be campy or funny.
Yeah.
So I think that I hope that his vision for the character is similar to mine, and I hope that whenever we get this movie, it turns out like that. But yeah, I think he has a point because he has to work not just as a sole character within his own universe, but as a character who's later going to become part of a team. And there is this contrast between like Metropolis and Gotham that has to be maintained. So yeah, I understand what he means, definitely.
Yeah. And there's also the aspect, since Brave and Bold is supposed to be a Bat family movie, not just a Batman
Mm-hmm.
movie. So you're getting Damian Wayne, and then all of the other,
Yeah, and they
Nightwing,
have
and
there's a
yeah,
lot of different characters.
yeah. So not just that, but there's also, like, I like the idea of, yeah, he doesn't want it campy or funny. I agree. Bruce Wayne isn't any of those things. The '60s, one
Sometimes.
notwithstanding, but he's not cracking jokes. He's not quippy. He's not, like, he wouldn't. Batman is the least MCU character possible, in my opinion. If you do him right, he's the least. He will never have a funny little quip or anything like that. He would just narrow
I
his eyes.
mean, you can. No, he does. He does actually do funny little
Well,
quips,
Bruce
just
Wayne,
with a
Bruce,
serious
yeah,
face. It's kind of like Daredevil.
right. Well, Bruce Wayne would have a funny thing to say, but Batman, it doesn't do that. But the other thing I like about this idea is that uh it's the contrast between, yes, it's not funny, it's actually deadly serious, but also all of his bad guys, generally speaking, are funny looking weirdos, right? like like every one of them, and like the contrast between Penguin and like Riddler and freaking Mr. Freeze, Joker. Like, you have all of these, Clock King, all of these really freaking weird, funny dressed guys who are actually really fucking scary. Like, when you do them right, Riddler is not funny. He's not funny at all. He's not campy at all. You know what Riddler is? Riddler is the what's the guy from Saw? The guy Jigsaw. Riddler is literally just Jigsaw. Like, he's like, you know what I'm saying? Uh Poison Ivy
I
is
haven't seen so.
well, like Jigsaw, Riddler would literally just kill you for not being able to answer a riddle, right? Poison Ivy, yeah, she's a hot woman, but also she has all these fucking poisons that would do horrible things to you. Joker is the scariest because he's a maniacal, clown dressing dude who will murder you in the worst possible ways. Like, none of this shit is funny. Gotham City isn't funny, and these guys, they have their colorful clownish outfits hide the fact that they're murderous and, like, terrifying, actually. And if you can capture that, you got Batman, because Batman's got to deal with all of this foolishness. And
He
he's
could just move.
yeah, he could move, but, like, they would just follow him. But Batman could move to Antarctica, and somehow all of that shit will follow him.
Yeah, but isn't he trying to help the people of Gotham? So
Yeah,
he
he's
moves, his
stuck there.
freaks move, and the people of Gotham are fine.
Yeah, but then organized crime is just like, finally, these motherfuckers are gone. We can get back to business, and then
Mhm.
so I think he's on point there. So he also talked about how the Batman 2 is still in the works. Y'all, look, I really want fans to fans to really understand something. Matt Reeves takes his sweet ass time, like for real. But when he finally makes the shit happen, it's good. So, and James Gunn is basically saying the same thing. He's like, man, like, let me see if I can get the quote exactly, because he was being very candid. He says, he says, it's Batman 2 is still in development. this month Matt Reeves is supposed to deliver a script. I bet you that doesn't happen because it's Matt Reeves. But they're waiting on it. But he's still excited about it. And I get it because game recognizes game. James Gunn recognizes when somebody's got the talent and the skill and the ability. And Matt Reeves has proved it. Anyway, he says, people should get off Matt's nuts because it's like, let the guy write the screenplay in the amount of time he needs to write it. That's just the way it is. He doesn't owe you something because you like his movie. I mean, you like his movie because of Matt. So let Matt do things the way he does. Or that's a long way of saying, shut up and let him cook. Like,
I bet there is a whole bunch of like fans who lost their minds and got mad at that.
I mean, it is.
But he's right.
Fan entitlement is weird. Like, y'all, look, be happy you get things. Like, I'm from the era, and I'm older than most people that, or maybe I'm not, but older than most people that might hear this. I'm from the era like when Batman '89 came out. Like, I went to see that in the theater when it came out. It was after a drought of anything really good, like in terms of superhero stuff. Like like for real. Y'all don't understand. We're fucking eating good. So like chill out. They don't owe you anything. You should just be happy you're getting things that are good. Is the wait long? Yeah. But like there's a lot of stuff happening right now. Between the Batman and the next but the Batman 2, all this DC and Marvel stuff is coming out. There's TV shows, there's comics. Like, go read other things, and when the shit's done, we'll get it. Like y'all, Matt Reeves ain't on your time. Like, chill out. I think he's right.
I agree.
And by the way, the Batman, it took him damn near 6 years to make that. It took it like for real, and the pandemic was part of it too. But it took damn near 6 years to get that onto the screen. Worth the wait. I thought it was great. So like just chill. So he was also talking about, look, and this is you should don't feed the trolls. We know that's the rule on the internet, right? But sometimes people are just going to ask you questions, you'll just answer. So he was asked, well, what do you think about all these people who are Zack Snyder fans, or Snyderverse stands is really what they should have said, who are actively rooting against you? Did you see that cringe ass bullshit campaign? Someone on Twitter or whatever was talking about, this is what we can do to ruin this new Superman movie and to defend the Snyderverse. And it was talking about all these little bullshit things they could do, like downvote it on review sites and give it bad reviews, and then go and book tickets but don't ever actually buy them so that they keep them away, and then basically it's a big campaign to be a big troll campaign to kill Superman. And it's just so fucking, who got this kind of time? Look, how do you have time for this? I'm so serious. How do you have time to do that? No one's paying you. Why is your entire fucking personality is hating on anything DC does that's not Snyder, Zack Snyder directed? It shit's weird. It like anyway, he's like,
you know what? I mean, what I don't know. Isn't Snyder embarrassed by these people?
Hell yeah, he's embarrassed by them, but he won't actually come out and be like, "Shut the fuck up." I wish he would just, because he, in a way, I think Zack Snyder likes the attention, but I really wish he would just tell them, "Shut the hell up," because like, it's not just that it's embarrassing. Like they don't do it. They don't add anything to the fandom. They don't like. It's just they're annoying, but like they get oxygen, and I blame Warner Brothers before they got Discovery. I blame Warner Brothers for giving them oxygen by making the Snyder Cut. I blame them, and I blame Zack Snyder in a way for, for basically capitalizing on their foolishness. But anyway, James Gunn was like, he's like, I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think you don't want to have everybody root for you. It's all right to have an opposing force every once in a while. These motherfuckers are not an opposing anything. It's a very small and very loud minority of fans.
True, but what else could he have said?
Yeah,
He couldn't have said like,
y'all are pathetic
God, what a bunch of
losers, a bunch of fucking losers.
Don't you all have anything else to do? Like,
no, they're fucking weird.
He would have been well within his rights to say that,
Yeah.
but he chose to be polite, and good for him.
He said, "I love." I love when you count me out. That's what he's like. I love it. I like it, and I get it, but it's just like, don't even give them any. Don't even acknowledge that shit. Is my
don't even give them any attention. Don't ask about them. Don't answer about them. Don't talk about them.
Yeah, and while we're sitting up there talking about that, the only reason why, because we're in the fandom space, and I think it's our responsibility. As we're all culture warriors, but like really to just like slap this bullshit down, because it's dumb. It really, like, if having your entire personality be a hater is ridiculous.
Hey. Some things are okay to
hey, your entire, that's the thing about you, Polly, is I know your entire I know that's your calling card, but I actually know that you love a lot of things, and I appreciate that about, like, this. We make fun, and
none of those things are Reed Richards,
but I know you are nothing like the Snyder stands are, they're fucking weirdos, like, and they're weirdos, and like, it's pathetic, like their entire
personality. That's actually sad, because they're trying to hurt actual people, and they literally would they seek out this drama, and they would come at you for just posting about out of nowhere, and then they would annoy you and not leave you alone.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with them.
Yeah. My thing is, if this was just, oh, damn, man, I just love Zack Snyder's DC stuff, I would be all for that. Like, good for you. Like, I'm with you. If you
really. Okay.
Well, now I don't necessarily agree. Like, I like some of his stuff, and I don't like some, but it's fine. If you're just like, I just really love his DC stuff, I would be like, I love that for you, and I'm like, I'm all for you. Celebrate the things you love. I love that. I don't like this whole, I love it so much that anything that isn't him, I hate it. That's weird. Like, just like, chill out. Hey, I don't know. Wanting Superman to fail is weird.
I don't even think that they like it that much. And they just like being a part of the group.
Yeah, it's like wanting Superman to fail as if it's going to do anything for the Snyderverse. It won't. That's the thing. It will not. James Gunn's new DC universe failing is not going to get Zack Snyder back in the driver's seat. It isn't. Zack Snyder is 100 miles down the road where they left him, and the car's not turning around to go back and get him. It isn't. So, like, this is just like fucking sour grapes and being a weirdo. It's flat Earth bullshit. That's the sort of thing it is. It's that. You want to be in a little secret club where you think you know better. You don't. You don't.
Just let it go, because at this point,
move
it's
on.
Just an obsession.
You're fucking weird. It's fucking pathetic. Like, move on to something else. There are so many other fandoms. Like, and actually, you know what? Never mind. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. You stay in your little loser corner of the internet and leave other fandoms alone. God damn. Anyway,
I can't do that.
James Gunn, you right about this. And moving on to James Gunn talking about Superman, and in particular, he was talking about his conception of Superman and his power level, and the reasoning why his Superman is beatable. I used to think this. I was wrong. this was years and years ago before I started reading Superman. I was like, man, Superman boring as hell. I'm like, he can't nobody beat him. He's got no weaknesses. Like, how can that be cool and interesting? You know, I my conception of him was like One Punch Man, right? He's just unbeatable. But I actually took the time to read more about. I learned, and I was like, no, I'm wrong. Superman's not. No, there's more to him than that. But James Gunn was kind of apparently he was looking at it in the same way, because he was talking about how he didn't want a Superman that could punch planets, which canonically there are some Superman. Superman at sometimes has actually been able to fucking destroy a planet, right? But he depowered him. But he said he said I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things. Who would beat whom? Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Like, so then whoever will win this fight means that they're the best, because I'll just go out and write God Man who can destroy you with a wink, and I win. I win all the fights forever. That's his kind of mentality when it comes to presenting this version of Kal-El. Which, again, there are versions of Superman where he's godlike. And in a sense, in this world that even the DCU, he is godlike in the sense that Gunn is pretty much already confirmed he's the strongest hero on the planet. But in this world, strongest on the planet doesn't mean unbeatable on the planet, right? We are even seeing in the trailer that someone's putting the whooping on him, right? They Dragon Ball Z punched him into the ground where he came out of a crater, right? He's fighting things that are gonna make him work. And so even in Man of Steel, we saw no one was his equal. Absolutely, it took another Kryptonian to kick his ass, right? And I think depowering him.
I barely remember that movie.
Basically, there wasn't any other superheroes really, besides Batman, I guess. And he's the god among men. In this one, it's more like he is a god among other demigods, I would probably say. But his idea is, let's bring him a bit down to earth. He's the strongest, but he is not invincible. And I think that's interesting. I don't know. Do you think he's coming at it from a good place? And also, does this avoid the power scaling problem that superhero movies and TV shows have?
That does manage it, because obviously that's something that Disney is gonna have to deal with too. And I think that he anticipated this issue, and probably this issue is more relevant to the DCU because the first movie is literally Superman. So yeah, it's a wise decision to approach it in that way and approach the character in that way, because we all know that his most interesting versions are vulnerable and in different ways, but still, yeah, it's pretty cool. It only makes me more excited to see this movie.
I feel like he didn't go far enough. I want the version of Superman that can only jump really high. He just
We got that in Smallville.
He can leap tall buildings at a single bound, but he can't stay up there. He's got to come back down at some point.
He can fly, but only for 10 minutes.
Yeah, more powerful than a locomotive. But like any more than that, it's exactly equal.
That's his limit.
To the locomotive.
He can bench press a locomotive, but that's it.
Yeah, he's bulletproof, but like, lasers.
To a degree,
Lasers, that's too much.
No, that depends on the caliber.
Yeah, it's like mostly Superman, almost Superman.
He's like better than average.
Yeah, I think the power scaling is a problem. I think giving him, this basically makes it possible for him to at some point get a level up, but like come back down to his normal. Like Spider-Man does this sometimes. He'll get something that really maximizes his power and like really lets us see how strong he actually can be. But then it goes back down to like, all right, I'm just web swinging, man. I'm I'm not stopping buildings from falling down.
Not overworking myself.
Yeah,
I don't get paid for this.
and this again, this does address the whole Superman. No one can fight him because he's too powerful situation. It's clear that he will be a problem for Lex Luthor and all that, but he's not. He's not home. Not even want
Not
to say
huge
Homelander.
problem.
Yeah, he's not.
Not taxes.
Yeah, he's not. Omni Man. He's not. He's not a guy who, man, we're lucky he's nice or he would take over everything. They actually can. I can tell from the trailer. Nah, if Superman ever decided he wanted to run the planet, they gonna kill his ass. They will fucking kill. There's just enough people that if you.
But if he joins his forces with his friends,
Yeah,
then maybe.
Yeah, you can tell that if he decided
it's a team effort.
If I'm gonna run this planet because I'm the strongest, there are about 3 or 4 people can combine and kick his ass. So and that's good. I like that.
Keep him in check.
Yeah. So finally, he did address how important Superman is to the DC universe and DC studios. A lot of people have been saying this is a make or break movie. Superman had better do like I'm pretty sure people like if this doesn't make $1 billion, DC Studios is cooked. Probably they are Snyder stans, but there's a lot of pressure on this movie, and I'm sure James Gunn gets it. But he kind of addressed that by saying he said this is the first movie out of DC Studios. Other people might say it's got to be a home run, nothing else. I'm like, no, I'd be very happy with the double. Fucking Iron Man wasn't the be all and end all. It wasn't Avatar. We're doing something that's a piece of the puzzle. It's not the puzzle itself. Yeah, okay. That's an interesting way to look at it. Do you think he's on point there?
I think that he knows how the studio treats this movie and what the studio expects from this movie better than the fans. So yeah, he's right about that. Is he right to compare this to Iron Man? Not really,
No.
because entirely different characters, entirely different popularity level. The fact that Superman is the face of the DCU, yeah, that's true, and I think that if the studio has room for an error or for like it underperforming in the eyes of the fans or Snyder fans, that's good. That's good that the studio doesn't treat it like it has to be perfect, it has to be flawless, and it has to make 5 billion or everyone will die. Because it shows that they at least understand that it's going to take time and they will give him room to build the universe before even doing something with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've been feeling this about comic book movies for a while now. I think Avengers, all the Avengers movies have made over $1 billion, every single one of them, right? Some of the Marvel movies have made $1 billion. Aquaman made $1 billion. There are $1 billion comic book movies, but they aren't the norm. Like I think we need to get that through our head again. They are outliers. Since Iron Man, so let's just go back to 08. So we're going on 20, near on 20 years now, right? In a few years. So in the last 17 years, there have been quite a few $1 billion. What is it? There's probably been less than $10 billion comic book movies at this point. It's probably something like 7 or 8, maybe 9. But there have been like probably 50. Marvel alone, since Iron Man, has put out 30, 35 movies, right? There's been all the DC stuff. There's been the Sony stuff. So in that time, 10 or 11 $1 billion movies out of 50 something odd comic book movies. It's not normal for them to be that. Now, I don't think that Superman has to be a $1 billion movie. I think it will be, but I don't think it has to be a $1 billion. To me, if it hits $750 million, I think that's a win. They can go. They can take that and move on. Right. The whole point of it has to come out.
I will be surprised if that's gonna be the limit.
Well, and this is there's two reasons why I say this. One is based on the budget, which I think is like $200 million. So in terms of budget, it's in order to be in the out of the red to be profitable, it's probably got to make something at least like 600. 600 mil. Let's say 250 mil, but let's say 200 million was the budget. Probably 150 for marketing. So you're looking at a lot, about 675, 700 million just to break even. And it makes sense that they're spending that much money on marketing because they want this to be big, right? So as long as it hits profitability, because profitability means that a lot of people watch the movie. When you start talking about $700 million, 750 million for box office, worldwide box office, a lot of people saw that movie, right? And then that means that a lot of people are going to watch it on streaming. They're going to buy it, or they're going to wait for it to get max. A lot of people are going to watch it on streaming, and it has a ton of a lot of merchandise. There's so much tie-in merchandise. So this movie's going to make money as long as it gets to 650-ish, 700. It's going to make money. It's going to justify its existence. More importantly, it's got to it's got to make a huge splash in terms of, and that doesn't have to be like a tidal wave, just a big splash to get people excited about Superman and Supergirl and DC Studios and everything, that because they have got to clear the decks of DCEU, right? The Snyderverse, whatever you want to call it. They've got to clear the decks, get people back on board with watching DC Studios movies. And as long as it does, he said a double. A double to me is, look, it's not gangbusters, but it's not bad. It's, they're getting on the idea of, in baseball terminology, hitting a double. It's getting someone onto base into scoring position, right? It's not you didn't get a home run. You didn't score.
I'm nodding, but I have no idea what any
well,
of that means.
Well, to put it into, and you understand soccer, so to put it into perspective,
football,
yeah, that thing, the other football, in soccer,
the real, you mean?
In soccer terms, this would be you're kicking you got a corner kick, and you have a set play from the corner, and you're putting yourself in a position to score. Anytime if you watch soccer or football.
Well, technically, if you're hitting the corner, like, you are not in a position to score it.
No,
no freaking way to curve the ball that way.
No,
but you do have other players who can.
Exactly. It's a corner kick. Corners are dangerous. In soccer, corners can be dangerous because they are an opportunity.
It's one of the standards,
yeah. It's a set play situation where people are there's a formation, people are running around, but the idea is to get the ball in a certain position where there could be a play made that could get the ball in the goal. That's where a double in terms of baseball is similar. You get somebody onto base. They are in a position where the next hit could get you a score, right? The next play could get you a score. So the double is a good analogy. You want to get someone in a position. They don't have to run it to get the score. They just have to be in a position to score. He's talking about setting up the DCU for future success by getting a solid entry that gets people excited and interested in the next thing. Which probably, they're introducing characters, they're introducing storylines, they're presenting the world. They're getting, more importantly, getting the kids excited because kids love Superman, right? Getting the kid, because in the next 5 years, those 7, 8, 9-year-olds are going to be 13, right? They're 14, 15. Getting their love for DC back on point, right? The way kids love the Marvel characters, get them to love the DC characters, right? This is all about this is probably the problem that Sony had, or even the DCEU before, wanting to have huge success at the beginning rather than laying the foundation for huge success in the future. I think this makes sense. You know?
Here's why I have a little more faith in this, because first of all, it's a new movie. It has a clean slate. You don't need to watch anything. You don't need to read anything to like binge anything. No homework again. And Superman is a hugely popular character. The trailers look stunning. So yeah, I think that people will show up. I think that we don't consider the general audience, which I think for them it's going to be a huge success. They don't know the drama. They don't have anything to do with the Snyder verse, or they don't care about that. They will show up. They will watch a movie. They will get the whole story from that movie, and they will be happy. So I'm pretty sure it's going to make. Well, if any movie has the potential to make $1 billion today, I think that's the movie.
Yeah.
Probably would have an easier ride than Fantastic Four, maybe even.
Yeah, that's I think.
Although, if Marvel does remind people that you don't need any homework for that movie, then yeah, that too.
Yeah, I think they both could. I think Superman does probably have the better shot at it, at making $1 billion. And it would be interesting because I don't think James Gunn has not had $1 billion movie yet. I think
Guardians
3 got into the 700s, I think. But 700 million would be a good, to me, again, 700 million would be a good return. And I don't care what anyone says to try to spin it as bad. That's a good, that considering the situation with
the first movie got 770 million worldwide. The second 869. And third one 137.
Oh, 800. So yeah, no. So he hasn't had $1 billion movie yet, but no. I think this movie making 750 would be a good showing. I don't care what anyone says and try to spin it as bad. I don't believe.
Oh, they probably won't do it because it's not a Ryan Coogler situation.
That I don't want them to. No matter how they try.
Still
to
a white man.
I think the thing is that they were like, well, given the character, it should be more successful. And I'm just like, yeah, if you ignore context and the situation, and if you ignore basically everything that actually has anything to do with box office and the current climate, like we're in a climate of, superhero movies are not automatic wins, right? We're in a climate where going to the theater it's got to be an event. People have other options. So as long as we recognize that there are many factors going on, 750 is a win. 750 is a win. If it's 500, that's a problem. But that, I think if this movie is good, it's gonna do well. So we'll see. So I think that's all of our news for the week. We got through it in a reasonable amount of time. But look, guys, maybe we missed something. You want to chime in on the things we said, disagree, agree. You want to say something nice. You want to troll us with your Snyderverse opinions. Whatever the case may be, we welcome all of that feedback. So get down there to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and Thread, and it's super_not_funny_show on TikTok. And while you're doing that, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All of that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people see this podcast and all of the other content we make on Blurred Force 1. And as usual, I guess I can do this solo. The show's not as good when I'm by myself. My good friend Polly came in to let us know that Reed still sucks, but also to share her love for all this superhero
Other
stuff.
superheroes are cool.
Yeah, everyone except him. So, Polly, thanks for joining me, and let them know where they can reach you on social media.
_mixed on Instagram, on Threads, and on Tumblr.
Yeah, go check her out on all those stuff. Check out the Tumblr in particular. When she goes in depth about, it's not just about read hate; it's also about love for other comic books. Like that, I wanna emphasize, Polly is not a hater. Yes, of Reed Richards, but she is a lover of comic books and reads all of those things. And one day she may even, I don't know, get on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, because she does play Marvel Rivals quite a bit. I understand that you had a good experience with Reed Richards on Marvel Rivals. Is that true?
Horrifyingly embarrassing, but yes, I have gotten a few MVPs as Reed Richards. Mostly I run around. I state right off the bat that I suck as a person, like Reed Richards sucks as a person, and then I walk around and harass invisible women and other characters.
Wow, don't do that.
I know I shouldn't, but like Reed is so awful.
Yeah. All right.
You gotta role play it.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been episode 185 of the Supercast. Join us next week. We are going to talk about plenty more stuff. We're Ironheart. We're probably going to go ahead and review Ironheart episodes 1 through 3. Where I'm very excited for that, actually. And maybe, I don't know, if I feel like Marvel Mystic Mayhem may have released its alpha, but I don't know. We'll see. If it has, we'll talk about that. We'll let you guys know. So until then, I've been Mo, your comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.